Fashion is a huge part of our everyday lives, but have any of us actually stopped to think about the different elements of what we wear and where its diversity comes from?
Today, we will be exploring influences on our clothing from the East to the West.
And you might be surprised at the origins of some of the aspects of our attire. The question that we're going to be answering today is, how has the syncretism of Eastern and Western culture influenced our fashion sense of the United States? Now we'll show you a few examples of the syncretism of Eastern and Western clothing found in our own closets.
So these are a pair of pants I recently bought from the American clothing store called Charlotte Russe, which caters mostly to teenage girls, and it's a chain store found throughout the United States. But these aren't your typical pants that you would usually find in American stores. If you look at the pattern of it and how busy it is, the shape of it, the fit of it, how it comes into the ankle at the bottom, and how it's the way it's cut and how it's a little bit baggy. With the tie right here, it's not Western. It's not a Western style. Actually, this style is found more in the Middle East and parts of Asia because of the bagginess and just the flowy shape of it. So this is a really good example of Western and Eastern cultural blending in terms of fashion, because it shows how the Western fashion industry has taken inspiration from an Eastern trend and produced products very similar. First, let's talk about dresses. This first dress has a high collar typical of traditional Chinese wear, as well as a beautiful floral print. The next dress has a paisley pattern, which is a print that actually originated in the East but became hugely popular in Western clothing. This third dress very closely resembles an Indian kurti or blouse in its pattern and cut. And the fourth dress has a very vertical shape, a trend typical of Eastern wear.
So now, for the tops and jackets. In these first couple of tops from Forever 21, the bright colors, patterns, and cuts take inspiration from Indian kurtis.
Watch us go round and round each time. You got that jeans.
The purple cardigan shown has a similar cut to a Japanese kimono, a style that is becoming more and more popular among teenage girls. The next cardigan has a bit of Japanese and Indian influence, Japanese in the kimono-like cut and Indian in the pattern. Lastly, this unique jacket from H&M shares the colors and patterns of traditional Eastern wear.
Finally, the pants. First off, we have these shorts adorned with the paisley pattern, which, as I've already discussed, comes from the East. Next, we move to the patterned pants. There's no limit to the number of prints and colors that these come in, and you can find them virtually anywhere. Some are like leggings, some are almost like bell-bottoms, but all of them take inspiration from Asian, Middle Eastern, and sometimes even African patterns and prints.
All these examples of Eastern clothing were found in American stores. So what does that tell us about fashion in terms of cultural blending and syncretism?
It tells us that globalization of culture is dynamic and ever-changing.
It tells us that we have more in common with others than we may have thought.
It tells us that this cultural blending of Eastern and Western fashion has affected us more than we may know.
And ultimately, it tells us that fashion is universal.